The real deal, a real cowboy. This guy's got the hat and the cattle to prove it. Reid Lance Rosenthal joins us here this morning on San Diego 6 in the morning or in San Diego Living. It's great to see you, but as I was looking over your bio here, and originally the whole discussion was going to be cowboy values and what's wrong with America and how to get America back on track, and then I went, and romance novelist?
And romance novelist. I'm a romantic guy.
How in the world does that happen? Because you're fourth generation, land and cattle. You got, what, 9 different ranches or something that you're involved with?
9 different ranches in the western state. Home is Wyoming. That's kind of our base ranch, our base operation.
When you're sitting around the campfire one night and you said, I think I'll get in touch with my romantic side and write me a novel.
Well, no, I've always had the romantic side, but I got in touch with the writing part of it. And, you know, romance is a universal energy. I like to write about universal energies. The land has a power. There's nobody who hasn't stood at the edge of the sea here or on a hill or looked down to a bend in the river to where it curved in the undergrowth and not felt a tug.
Right.
That's a universal energy, and there's not a single person, I bet, in your audience, if I ask them to raise their hand, who has not had a girlfriend or who has not had a boyfriend, right? Romance is a universal energy.
Pretty much a universal thing.
So I like writing about those universal energies, and when you twist in the American spirit, because this is historical novels, you know, begins in 1855, kind of the disparate threads of lives of brave men and independent women. They twist together, fate twists them together in Europe. They journey to America. And the 16th book of the series will be in the real time of the contemporary West.
16th book in the series?
I'm a masochist.
Now, I've heard and it's Threads West, an American saga?
Threads West, an American saga.
I don't want to, you know, blow your hat off your head here, but I've heard this compared to Lonesome Dove. I mean, is that heady stuff?
You know, folks have compared it to Lonesome Dove, Centennial, Louis L'Amour with Steam, you know, with the romance stuff.
Steamy Louis L'Amour.
And a couple of reviewers have called it the Gone with the Wind of the West. And, you know, those are all their words, not mine.
Not yours,
It's all been a stunning surprise. Well, I've been tickled.
And there's a little method to your madness, too, because I understand when you go to a romance novel convention or so forth, there's about 8 guys and 3,500 women there or something, so you're no dumb cowboy, that's for
that's
sure.
right. I'm attending the RWA, the Romance Writers of America, in Anaheim right now, and it is a tsunami of estrogen. A tsunami. I mean, you got to bring your surfboard.
Well, I'm going to have to put pen to paper and start writing.
It's at the Marriott.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I want to learn to write. Being a cowboy, though, is serious business, and it's hard work. And I think that maybe that's one thing that even for people that maybe grew up in the city, they still have a sense of that. They understand that. At ranching, tough business and so forth. But you say that's kind of what makes America great, and that's getting back to some of those values wouldn't be a bad idea.
Well, I think, you know, if you're going to restore America, you got to start with values. I write history, and it'll evolve into contemporary, but I write history because I think that's the touchstone. And I think the touchstone of the past is really the guidepost to the future. In fact, I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, I think if you don't know your history, I don't think you know where you're going.
I really agree. Yeah. And the traits of the Old West, self-reliance, sense of community, shall we say what you mean, do what you say. I mean, all those values are values which I think are somehow being lost in an entitlement mentality, which is growing and growing.
Entitlement, political correctness.
Political correctness.
Not saying what you mean.
Political correctness. You know, I mean, look, if everybody looks back to what made America great, it's all those traits. It's individuals, you know, taking opportunities, demonstrating courage, demonstrating passions, of course, right, because it all ties in. And I think if we can reach back and touch that, it'll give us a much clearer direction in terms of where we need to go.
And cowboys have a saying, too. If you need a hand,
look at the end of your arm.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, and it's true.
Well, yeah. I mean, what do you think about the rodeos today, just for example?
Well, the rodeos are great. I mean, they've gotten very commercial.
Right. That kind of was I was going to ask you about that a little bit.
I rode bulls when I was young and dumb. Now I'm old and stupid. But I rode bulls, you know, from when I was 19 to about 26. I have 2 back surgeries to prove it. And back then, it was really kind of a sense of competition, et cetera. And I'm not downplaying because it's a tough sport, no, and it takes a lot of courage.
A bull is a bull.
A bull is a bull,
yeah,
and he wants to hurt you. That's his mission in life, is to hurt you. But rodeo now, I think, has become, and maybe rightfully so, because you're risking your life every time you go out in the ring. You know, it's become high paying and high glamour, and in a way, that's kind of good because I think it promotes those values. It keeps people acquainted with those values so that you can have more serious discussions after rodeo or before rodeo,
Sure.
if you know what I'm saying.
But Reid, look, we're flat out of time, but the book is Threads West, an American Saga. You write some stuff that's nonfiction as well.
Yes.
And folks can look at Land for Love and Money.
Land for Love and Money. And Amazon, Barnes & Noble, they can go to our website, www.threadswestseries.com. And
Beautiful.
that's kind of a fun site.
Reid, great to see you.
Pleasure.
Enjoy your time
Absolute
here in San
pleasure.
Diego, and I may hitch a ride with you back up to the convention.
The horse is right outside.
Okay.